welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union mini reading. This is going to be a brief update into what's going on for the energies for the masculine, the feminine, and the union. The reason why it's a mini reading is because we're going to be doing a deeper depth look with regards to this energy, the Sacred Union energy, and the eclipse season that is going to be starting on September 7th. You might already be feeling this energy. I know I am. It has been an interesting week so far. It has been a little bit intense with regards to the energies that we're feeling. We're going to talk a little bit about the eclipse energies in tonight's Sacred Circle Channeling and Chat live stream and our YouTube membership. If you don't join tonight, you are welcome to listen back. I'll also have some highlights, but for the full channeling, for the full chat, for the full meditations, make sure that you are joining that YouTube membership. It's only $3.99 for the month. So the reason why I have everything out is because I had already done this channeling, but it went way into depth and it was just too much. It felt too much for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of recap everything and kind of rechannel everything that we had brought out in that other recording. This is also kind of a precursor to a lot of surprises that I have coming up over the next couple of days. I have a new workshop that is going to be pre-recorded for you. It is for those who are coming into a union of some sort with regards to a counterpart connection, whether this is their counterpart that is coming back, you're reuniting and reconciling, or this is a new divine counterpart connection. This is union season. This is the union energy. This is the union cycle that we're moving into. And so we're going to have a workshop that is going to share all of that, how to navigate that, all that energy, what it looks like, how you might interact with each other in a much more conscious way, lots of exercises just to help you navigate all of this. So make sure that you're staying tuned. It's called Return to Love. It'll be coming up over the next couple of days. As soon as it is available, I will let you know in the newsletter and on our social media platforms. So I wanted to do this just as a quick update leading into the weekend and all this eclipse energy. I'm going to start with the union energies because this is a very interesting energy. We have the card Indecision, and as soon as this card came out, I began to hear the song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Now, this is also a song that we had channeled in a previous Sacred Union energy update. At the very least, it was the title, or there was a hint of the title in that Sacred Union energy update. This lyric specifically: yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road that you're on. This union energy feels like you're at a choice point, and what we had channeled is that it comes down to this present moment. What do you want in this present moment? What are you choosing in this present moment from this level of consciousness? That past version of yourself. Maybe it was a past version that you had ideas or beliefs around relationship. Maybe you had ideas or beliefs around your person. Maybe you had beliefs and ideas and perspectives around what you thought the Sacred Union journey was. But at this level of consciousness, what I call the higher heart ascension, we are kind of going back to the beginning in many ways. That's where reunion, reconciliation will feel like a new beginning. That's where you feel like a new person. What is it that you want? What is it that you hold within your heart right now? Now, this can relate to you as a masculine or as a feminine. It's going to relate in a little bit of a different way. For the masculine, this energy might be, well, I have my person, I have my mission, I have my service, I have my job, I know the path that I'm going on. But there's a little bit of ego at play there for the divine masculine. They didn't realize that their path could pivot. They didn't realize that their path could change. And that's part of listening to their soul, part of listening to their heart. For them, it was more of a kind of like a barrel, like a very, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, all I'm seeing is like just looking down one version, looking down one path, and couldn't see all the opportunity that was being presented to them, or wasn't accepting of all the opportunity that was being presented to them, including relationship, including perhaps family, including jobs, including love as a whole. It's going to relate to everybody in a little bit of a different way, depending on what their experience was and depending on what the core wound was. But what it comes down to was worthiness. That was what was blocking them. That's why their ego was, nope, this is it. This is the only direction I'm going. This is the only way that I'm heading in. It's because their own ego was holding them back out of fears of abandonment, fears of self-worth, or worthy issues. I'm not worthy of this opportunity. I'm not worthy of this love. Fears of shifting, fears of letting go of the past. So it's going to relate to everybody in a little bit of a different way, depending on what that main wound was. But it's also all wrapped up together because, the masculines, they have those fears of abandonment. They have those fears of worthiness. You do too, Divine Feminine, just in a little bit of a different way. And so it felt very fixed. This is my path, and I'm not deviating from this path. And so that's all ego, right? You're not a fixed person. You're not a fixed soul. You're a constantly evolving and constantly growing soul. That's what your ascension journey is. And so when you begin to walk this path, you begin to realize that it might not be what I thought it was. My relationship might not be what I thought it was. My goals might not be what I thought they were. My dreams might not be what I thought they were. I might not be who I thought I was. And that's where you begin to grow. That's where you begin to shift. That's where you begin to kind of recreate yourself and recreate your life. And so your very soul is going to continue to guide you into that growth. Your soul is the one that has a blueprint. Your ego doesn't. Your ego just kind of fools itself into thinking that it does. You need your ego. Your ego is your sense of identity. But your soul guiding you gets to recreate that sense of identity into new beliefs, into new understandings, into new wisdom, into new relationship with yourself, new connection with yourself. And so that's where you have identity shifts. You're not the old version of yourself that you were at the beginning of this journey throughout your life. You are constantly evolving into new versions of yourself. And that's where you have to also allow your life and your life path to evolve with you, to change with you. So you're not a fixed version of you. And so what you might have wanted in the past, what you might have held on to in the past, whether a version of you, could be a counterpart, could be what you thought relationship was, what you thought this journey was. That's where you are evolving, growing, and shifting. Divine Feminines, for you, this is about releasing a version of what you thought this journey was, releasing that consciousness loop of what we call the twin flame matrix, and continuing to evolve in the sacred union, continuing to let your sacred union unfold in a beautiful and natural way. That's the divine way. That's the divinity of it all. That's the sacredness of it all. Where you might have still been operating in those old loops of, not allowing it to unfold. That fear of, what if this happens? What if that happens? Now you're in a place of surrender. Now you're in a place of trust. And so with this indecision card, yes, there are two paths you may go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. You can change at any moment. You can shift your path at any moment. All it comes down to is your own conscious choice, your own conscious awareness. So you might be at a little bit of a crossroads when it comes to being radically honest with yourself. What is it that I want for my union? Who is it that I want? For some, you might be letting go of an old counterpart connection that maybe hasn't been showing up, that maybe you have outgrown. For others, it might be that you are reuniting with a counterpart or meeting a new counterpart, and you are recognizing, hey, yeah, let's build a new foundation. Because that was an old version of me, that was an old version of you, that was an old version of us in our relationship. So let's decide what we actually want. Let's have this communication, this conscious communication with each other, and build a new foundation that is much more stable, that is much more secure. Let's decide together. And so for the masculine and for the feminine, both sides of this coin, this is what's happening. But you're doing it in oneness. You're actually deciding together at the highest level. You are actually deciding together. And you'll reflect that in the conversations that you have and how you interact with each other, in the communication that you have. As your journey goes along, you will communicate this with each other. but you're actually doing it from a higher perspective as you yourself individually are choosing. As you're choosing, yes, I want that union with myself, that balance, that wholeness. I want to feel the empowered version of myself, and I want to see that reflected in my relationships. I want healthy relationships. I want conscious connections. I want deep, intimate connections. I want to see that reflected in my relationships. So you're actually deciding this together. By deciding for yourself what it is that you want, you're going to see that reflected in your physical union with a counterpart. So you might feel a little bit at a crossroads, but that crossroads is actually a positive thing, because now, especially with this eclipse season, which is amplifying that energy, you're listening to the heart, not the ego, of where I thought I needed to be, or the direction I thought I need to be going with the person or the people or the work that I thought I needed to be doing. This is part of my evolution. I can allow for that change. I can allow for that growth, because that's all change is. We tend to fear change because we think that it's the end of one thing and the beginning of another. And in essence, it kind of is, right? But change is just growth. It's a natural evolution. We just fear it so much because we're holding on so tightly. But if we allow for that change, there's a lot of beauty that comes through. There's a lot of wisdom that comes through. There's a lot of love that comes through. And so this is all about really tuning into the heart and being radically honest with your heart, and letting your soul guide you into that next step, into that next level, into that next iteration of you, and also your union, your relationship, your partnership, however it is that you like to label it. You're moving to that next level. And so you get to decide by trusting the heart, not listening to the ego of, but this is how it has to be. That's all ego, that's all control, right? By listening to the heart and deciding what you want, deciding what your desire is, and allowing yourself to take that intuitive action towards it, while also being in a state of allowing it to unfold in that surrender, that divine surrender. That's the crux. It's both. You have to allow yourself surrender, but also take that guided action, take that intuitive action. It takes effort. You have to take action to show the universe, where it is that you're going, where it is that you want to go. And then the universe meets you. Well, it's the same thing with your union. You have to take action, put in the effort for your union to unfold too, while you're in surrender of that unfolding. Because you're trusting your intuition now. You're trusting your inner guidance. You're trusting your heart. You're trusting your desires. You're not in the fear anymore of the ego. That's not holding you back anymore. You're not in the fixed place of, oh, but this is my obligation to my family. This is my obligation to an old relationship. This is my obligation to money. I have to make this amount of money. This is my expectation for my success. Your success is what you want it to be. Your life is what you want it to be. And that's you in an empowered state. That's your sovereignty. That's your authority. So you might feel a little bit at a crossroads right now, especially with this eclipse season, where you're really tuning into your heart and deciding, what is it that I want? And allowing that to play out, allowing that to unfold now in a state of presence, in a state of magic, truly, because that's what it is. So don't let the indecision pull you off track of what's in your soul. Don't let your ego pull you in one direction or the other. Keep coming back to your heart, keep coming back to your soul, and keep letting that guide you forward. For the Divine Masculine, we have the Magician in the Mirror. And I love this energy because this is piggybacking off of some of the recent energy updates that we've done. So go back and listen to some of those. Those are timeless. And you might get more activations. You might get more understanding out of those as you listen back over the days, weeks, and months, because they're layered. And you might understand more as you are experiencing more along your journey. So the Magician is an awesome card because the Magician is recognizing their creatorship. They're recognizing, hey, I actually direct my destiny. My destiny isn't something outside of myself. It's not something that happens to me. My life isn't something that happens to me. It's something that I get to decide. And part of the surrender is, yes, there are certain experiences that we'll have that might, shake us up, but I get to decide how I react. I get to decide the energy that I'm holding. I get to pull my power back to me, my energy back to me, instead of giving it away. The masculine is beginning to really understand this. and not creating from a place of control, which is the distorted lens of the masculine, but creating from a place of self-empowerment, self-realization, self-actualization. So this masculine has been healing, growing, and all healing is remembering who you truly are on a soul level. So they're growing, they are remembering who they are at that soul level. They are taking responsibility for their life, taking responsibility for their actions. They are in control of themselves. And again, this is not control from the ego standpoint, from the corrupted standpoint of controlling others, controlling their environment, controlling their resources. This is control of, I know who I am. Or at least I'm getting there. This is a process for the divine masculine. So I feel like this energy is, they are beginning to connect deeply to the truth of themselves, beginning to understand who they are at the soul level, and that they haven't perhaps always been operating from that soul perspective, that they had been perhaps operating from more of the ego, and that was coming from old beliefs, that was coming from societal conditioning, that was coming from patterns, that was the mask that they were wearing. But true sovereignty, true authority, true connection comes from authenticity. It comes from being who you truly are. And I feel like that's the magic that they're beginning to experience. Hey, when I'm truly me, everything opens up. When I listen to my heart and trust my inner guidance, which is them trusting the feminine, so this is their inner union, then life actually gets easier. It gets effortless. So this is the process of them beginning to integrate and anchor in that inner union. When they're trusting their inner feminine, which is also you, divine feminine, their counterpart, when they're trusting the feminine energy, life gets more easy, it gets more effortless, it gets more magical. And they're also trusting their own inner masculine to have the stability, to have the security, to be able to hold that energy, to be able to hold themselves. See how he's in kind of like this state of balance? One's not weighing heavier the other. He's in this state of balance, in this state of wholeness. And he's able to connect with himself, connect within the heart, connect within the wholeness of the energies of the balance of the polarities, and hold that. That's where his own evolution is bringing him to. So I feel like this is going to be a continuing process, but I feel like there is I don't want to call it an awakening, because it's not from that state of being. This is like where their rebirth has brought them. This is where their spiritual journey has brought them, their growth has brought them, and it's going to continue in the embodiment. So they're integrating the energies, they're anchoring in the energies, they're having a new level of awareness and sense of self and connection to self, and they're going to begin embodying that more and more and more. We pulled the Knight of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles, and this was also clarifying this energy. The Knight of Swords was this energy of moving forward. It was like a chariot energy. Again, directing my destiny, and I'm moving forward now. I have a sense of direction. I have that sense of internal purpose. It's not external now. It's not I have to reach for the money. I have to have the status. I have to have the relationship. This is coming from an internal sense of purpose. Where does my soul want me to go? Where am I being guided? What is it that I want to do? What fulfills me? Not because of what looks like success on the physical world or to society, but what is fulfilling to me? That's this divine masculine. They're beginning to really anchor that in and embody that and move towards that. So there's a sense of direction here, and a sense of clarity that they're getting around themselves and around the sense of connection. The Ten of Wands was an interesting energy too, because what we had channeled, again, I'm repeating this, was that the 10 wands behind them is the past and past versions of themselves. And now they're like, yeah, here's the one wand. This is the version of myself I choose to be. This was all past versions of myself, and I honor those past versions of myself. You don't know what you don't know, right? So you don't criticize, you don't judge those past versions of yourself. You love those past versions of yourself because they were still part of you. You were still learning, you were still growing through them. But now you get to decide who you want to be. And you get to decide how you want to present that, how you want to express that. That could be appearance, that could be your job, your work, your mission, your service. That could be the kind of relationships you want to call in, the community that you want to form. So it's basically your life. It's your human experience. This is the version of you. This is the identity of you that you are choosing now, based on all the wisdom, the learning, the contrast that you gained from that past version of yourself. You put that to rest. You don't have to carry all those burdens anymore. You get to choose who you want to be, and that's part of this crossroads that the divine masculine might be feeling. With the Seven of Pentacles, again, it is a process, so patience is required. As they are connecting deeper and deeper to themselves, I'm also getting this forward momentum energy. Like they might be feeling this restlessness, this anxiousness. Not really anxious. It's more anticipatory energy. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going, because it is exciting. The more you connect with yourself through that healing, through that remembering, through the clearing of the past, the more you see what's on the other side, which is peace, which is love, which is soul connection, and not just soul connection with other people, but soul connection within the self, with the universe as a whole. And so I feel like they might begin to see the fruits of this. I don't want to call it the rewards, because I don't believe in a reward system with the universe, but it's cause and effect. So as they are shifting in themselves, they're beginning to see new blooms in their life. And again, this could be relationships, healthier dynamics, a more stable connection within themselves or with their relationships, more stable and secure finances, more satisfaction, fulfillment in their job, in their work, more mission-oriented service, that kind of thing. So these sunflowers here, these pentacles, are representing the manifestations or the creations coming from what they're choosing, who they're choosing to be. And who you're choosing to be comes from your belief system, how you're seeing yourself, the energy that you're holding, the energy that you're projecting onto your physical world, because your physical world is a projection, a reflection of the energy that you have, of how you see yourself, the beliefs that you hold. So I feel like this is all coming to fruition, and these are all the branches of the tree of the self. So as they're anchoring and rooting more into their sense of self, releasing the masks, releasing the false facades, and anchoring into the truth, their authentic truth, their soul truth, which divine feminine you always seen within them. This is the embodiment within the physical. They're branching off into shifting their life as a whole, and it's feeling magical for them. It's feeling magical. There might be some heaviness, there might be some tendrils of the past that's clearing, but that's part of the healing, that's part of the remembrance. It's just clearing more and more of the past, and you're still human, so life can still be messy, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your ascension journey doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. It's just embodied. Just keep being embodied, the embodied version of you. That's part of the journey. The more you embody this version of you, no matter how messy it gets, you're going to keep coming back to that connection within yourself. Those are the roots that you've planted. You know, when a tree is growing, it becomes unshakable, immovable, because the roots are so firmly in there. You know, it's so firmly connected to the earth that no matter what happens, no matter how many branches get knocked down, or how the leaves fall and decay through the seasons, you know, the roots are still the same. Well, that's your soul. You're getting back to the root of yourself, so that you might be shedding versions of yourself through the seasons, old versions of yourself, and keep being reborn in versions of yourself. But your root is the same, and the divine masculine is connecting to the root, to the soul of themselves. It's beautiful energy. Divine feminine, over here you have door to romance and strategy, and I am loving this because door to romance, remember, romance is an energy that you hold. It is how you express love. It doesn't have to be flowers and dates and dinners and picnics and stuff like that and sunset walks. It could be that, because that's a beautiful expression of love, but it is simply love as a whole. Romance is how you treat yourself. Romance is how you express yourself and how you express love. So if you express love through, you know, gifts or time together, or through, you know, all these beautiful expressions that we know romance to be, that's beautiful too. But remember, it doesn't have to be that. It's the energy that you hold and how you express that energy. So I feel like the door of romance is, yeah, there is a new season of your life that is opening. So this could be for those who are reuniting and reconciling with a counterpart connection, maybe the one that activated you to your sacred union path of ascension, or this could be a new counterpart that is coming in. Take it as it resonates for you. Everybody's on a little bit of a different path. You can always reach out during the times that we have readings or through soul guidance sessions, my mentoring sessions, to understand what's going on with you and your connections, or you and your life and journey as a whole. But this is beautiful because what's happening here with the strategy card is it feels like there's a new foundation that's being built. Now, this strategy card does not feel like strategy as in manipulation or trying for anything. You're not seeking anything. You're not trying to plan something out. You're not trying to force anything. You're not chasing after anything. This strategy just feels like, what's the foundation that I'm building here? Because there's a new beginning that is happening here. And so this strategy card is building that foundation of trust, building that foundation of stability and security, building that foundation of conscious connection. That's what this feels like, allowing it to unfold, but in a much more conscious way. That's what strategy is. It's allowing it to unfold and reminding yourself to be present, not getting too far ahead of yourself, not bringing in the energy of the past, being very present from this moment forward and continuing to build. Because it is a new beginning. Again, you're getting to know each other again, or you're getting to know somebody new. So you have to build from that new foundation, but it's much healthier. It's much more conscious. Again, just like the divine masculine, you don't know what you didn't know, divine feminines. You didn't know you were on the sacred union journey. You learned it very quickly. You were the one that was activated to that remembrance of what soul connection and sacred union and twin flames was. You learned it very, very quickly, but you didn't know what you didn't know. You didn't know what this journey would entail. You didn't know what this journey was about. You didn't know you were walking this path of evolution. You didn't know what this love was truly about. Now you do. Now you're in what I call the higher heart ascension, where you're in that inner union, you're in that balance. You've done that healing of the polarities within yourself, that balancing of the polarities within yourself. You are secure within your inner masculine. You are trusting and surrendered within your divine feminine. So now you are bringing that to your connection. You're bringing that to your relationship in a much more healthy and conscious way. And so the strategy here, it's not quite the word strategy, it's just how are you allowing it to unfold? From that old energy of runner chaser, the old energy of perhaps anxious attachment or avoidant attachment, or are you bringing to it that state of security, that state of empowerment, that state of presence, that state of let's allow this to unfold and be very present with each other as it unfolds. You have raised your standards. You have healthy boundaries now. You are in a state of empowerment, so it's never going to be what it was, but it can be better. It can be healthier. And that's what this new beginning is. You have the Fool here, so the Fool is all about keeping that open heart. There might be times, divine feminine, when you feel like you want to be a little bit guarded, when you feel like maybe some hints of the past might trigger you, and that's okay. Same for you, same message for you. It can be messy. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfectly healed. There's no end result. There's no final destination of healing. This is an evolutionary journey. And so just keep going back to the basics. Keep opening your heart. Keep allowing yourself to expand, and keep allowing your connection to expand and grow. Because that's what's happening, and it's a beautiful experience, especially with the Three of Cups here. Three of Cups gets a bad rap in the tarot reading community, especially around relationships. It's not third party. That's where the spiritual community, I don't know where it started from, but Three of Cups is joyful. It's celebration. It's about community. So you might actually even have community bringing you and your counterpart together, or helping you to heal or grow or expand. You might have friends or family or mutual connections bringing you together, or even just the energy of your spirit team is also what I'm getting. So this is joyful, this is celebratory, and with the Three of Pentacles, it's also collaborating, because underneath the surface, you both are doing this together. Underneath the surface, you are both making this decision together. You're both coming into union together and working towards this union together as a team. In your separation, maybe even if you were in relationship with each other, but you were experiencing your journeys kind of separately, individually, is what I like to call it. But now it's about coming into partnership and bringing that union into some kind of partnership, bringing it into wholeness, bringing the union itself into balance. And so, where you might have been experiencing your ascension journey and your sacred union path of ascension, it looked like individually, now it's going to be coming into that oneness, into that union. It's really beautiful energy. And another message that's coming through is it's also peace. Where you might have experienced a lot of chaos in your connection in the past, there's a lot of peace that's coming through. Especially, I want to say this for the divine masculine. The divine masculine, and you too, divine feminine, I don't want to like exclude you from this, but we experience this more with the divine masculines. They're very used to chaos, and that can be coming from upbringing, from their past experience with relationships. And so divine feminines, as you bring peace and that unconditional love, that could have actually triggered them because they weren't so used to that, they weren't aware of that, or at the very least they had not experienced that to the level that you brought it. They were used to the chaos, and so that was comfortable for them. It was comfortable to the ego because it was what they knew. Now there's more peace coming in. Now there's more unconditional love. And as they're going through their own rebirth, letting go of their own chaos, letting go of anything that is not peace, they're beginning to see you in a new light as well. The light that you've always held, divine feminine, but they're beginning to see it now. They're beginning to open up to it now. And in the union energies, that's where we have the moon and the Four of Wands. The moon is what was previously unconscious, what was previously unseen is being revealed. And that is opening the door for that higher level of devotion, higher level of commitment, higher level of union. The Four of Wands being that 1111 union card. And so higher levels of that reunion and reconciliation unfolding into the sacred union. This is a season, again, of sacred union, but it might not look like what you anticipate it to be or what you thought it was. Allow it to unfold. You are writing your own blueprint. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to other journeys. You are writing your own blueprint, and it is perfect for you. So enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. And if you want to know more about reunion and reconciliation with regards to your counterpart or with regards to a new connection, as far as how to navigate the energies and what is happening energetically, make sure that you're staying tuned for our Return to Love workshop that will be dropping within the next couple of days. All right, let me know how this resonates for you. I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon.